Hello everybody, I am dat1niceguy and I'm going to be showcasing Super Castlevania IV for the Super Nintendo. Just want to say a quick thank you to RGL TV for letting me have this opportunity to be here. And I'll do my best for tonight. So let's I always start off by naming whatever. So yeah, wait, is that a Y or a Z? Yeah, I'm already screwing up here. Anyway, Super Castlevania IV, this is a remake of Castlevania 1 for the NES. And let's start right now, coming in 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you everybody for the good luck, appreciate it a lot. So like I said, Castlevania IV is a remake of the first game. The plot's pretty much about the same. Simon goes in, kills a bunch of enemies, zombies, whatever. Kills Dracula, castle crumbles, the end. Nothing much. And by remake, I don't mean that they basically redid the entire game or remade all levels. It's all designed completely differently, but what's more important is the gameplay. So, unlike the previous Castlevania games, you can tell that you can now move your whip around basically. You can now move your whip in all 8 directions, which makes it a lot more fun, and I'm kind of disappointed that this is the only CV game that lets you do that. Oops, that skeleton can be a jerk. So unlike the previous CV games, you're going to want to keep this cross for the remainder of the run. You do not want to lose it at all. The only way to lose it is by either dying or grabbing another sub-weapon, neither of which we would want. And there's the double right there. I'm gonna work my way to get a triple in order to throw 3 crosses at the same time. So yeah, this is stage 1. We are not in the castle just yet. We are now in an abandoned horse stable, I believe. We will enter the castle at stage 6. But another thing I want to showcase is that in this game you're going to be seeing me take a lot of damage boost. Damage boost is pretty much key to, I guess, running this game. At times it can help you save a lot of time. Such as right over here, I'm going to use these Medusa heads to my advantage. So that's 1. That's 2. So what I did is I manipulated my whip and stun locked the Medusa heads to keep them at place, so I can just boost myself forward. And comes another damage boost. Saves a little bit of time. And now we're approaching the first boss. So I'm gonna throw my crosses here, kill Rodane's horse, and kill Rodane himself. And that should be it for stage 1. Yeah, I didn't have enough hearts to do a Triforce. I accidentally threw away one of them. But now we're approaching stage 2, which is some kind of a haunted forest. The unique thing about stage 2 is that it has a variety of different monsters to fight. By the way, these hands you see on the floor, they're completely RNG. They don't attack you, but once they grab onto you, they can be a bit of a pain, since you do lose a lot of time. And now we don't have to worry about them anymore. So stage 2, there isn't really much to say about this stage. It's just basic platforming. Just try your best to basically kill all these enemies here. And I took a little bit of damage from one of the lizards, or Charmanders as I call them. So with that, I'm gonna have to sacrifice a damage boost from one of the bats here. So I'm gonna grind for some hearts here, while also killing these birds and these algae here. And as I said earlier, I cannot do a bat boost, but I can still jump forward. Gonna get rid of this bird here, as well as this frog. Yeah, frogs can be very annoying in this game. Same with the birds. Like every Castlevania game has to have these really annoying birds. Another thing I want to point out is that these candles in these games are sets, meaning that they do not drop random items compared to the NES titles. Every candle here always drops the exact same item. And now we're about to fight the second boss, and he's dead. So unlike the first stage, there is no orb to collect. You just have to keep walking forward, while also receiving even more damage boost. This is when the damage boost starts to really shine. And another one here. Grab the invincibility potion in order to cruise my way through. Grab the meat candle here so we can do even more damage boost. So again, another damage boost here, and more from these grasshopper goblins thing. I call them scythers from Pokemon. I don't really know what they're called. And we're about almost done with stage 2 here. And now we're approaching stage 3. So the unique thing about stage 3 is that it's separated into 3 different sub-levels. The first one is a cave, which is the one I'm in. The second one is in an aqueduct or a waterfall. And the third one is in a abandoned sunken city. But first, let's try to get out of this cave first. The biggest thing you need to worry about with this part of the stage is the mudmen. Wherever they spawn at is completely random. Oh, that's a good pattern there. Okay, that's a not so good pattern. The worst is when those two walk towards each other. Now comes the last mudman. Hopefully he walks all the way to the right. Now to the left. Nope. Decide not to give us that pattern. That's fine. So the waterfall portion of the stage is just your basic platforming. Not really much to say here. But right now I'm going to try my best to do one of the most famous tricks of the game called the ring glitch. So latch onto this ring here, and just like that. So what I did over there is I jump and manipulate my whip just as Simon's head is right above it. It tricks the game into making you latch onto wherever Simon is pretty much at. That trick over there saves you about 10 seconds. And now we're on to the last part of stage 3. And yes, the fishmen do return from CV1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to use this eyeball to my advantage here. Just like that, that saves a lot of time. This part here can be a little bit stressful because of all these enemies here. So I'm gonna have to focus a little bit more here. There you go. Oops, get on the stairs, Simon. So I'm gonna throw this cross here in order to reduce lag once I get that rosary. Collecting the rosary just by itself can make the game lag a lot more, but when I threw that cross it helped a lot. That's one damage boost there. Ooh, that was scary. That was really scary, but I managed to pull through it. That ring glitch can be very sketchy at times when you screw it up. And now approaching the boss of stage 3, so I'm going to pay attention to the water below to time my crosses. And right there. There you go. And now we're on our way to stage 4. So that's it for the first 3 stages. Now we're on to stage 4, which is what we call mode 7 stage. You will see why it's called that. Just gonna get rid of these enemies here and just keep marching forward. Careful from those platforms, they will make you fall. So we're about to approach the mini sub-boss of this stage. His name is Poexel, and I'm not talking about the amazing RPG runner we all know and love. So I'm gonna jump 4 times in a row to time my cross throws. Oh, that was a little slow, but that's fine. Poexel's pretty easy to kill. And now comes my favorite part of the game. This is what we call the coffee break room. Just sit around, do nothing. You know, get something to drink, get some coffee, some food, watch some anime, whatever you want. While also trying to avoid these Medusas. I always find it really ridiculous doing this. Careful not to waste all your crosses though. So as I said before, this is what we call the mode 7 stage. As you're seeing right now, the room is now turning. It's one of those cool tricks that the developers did to showcase how amazing the Super Nintendo is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I counted how many blocks appear so I can leave early. Now I hope none of you get sick from this room. So I should probably tell you that Super Castlevania IV happens to be a launch title for the people in Europe. So again, it's clear that they really wanted to showcase how powerful Mode 7 really is. And we're about to leave this room right now. Okay, now comes one of the toughest tricks. I'm gonna try my best not to screw it up. Alright, we did it. So this is what we call the zip, where you're basically getting hit on purpose at the exact frame where the blocks will collide and crush Simon. It basically tricks the game into not knowing where Simon should land at. It's very tough and, well, very scary to pull off. And it saves you roughly around 10 seconds. Ugh, a little slow fight. That's Coronat, the Grand Wizard of this stage. And he's dead. He kind of reminds me of Graveler from Pokemon, but Coronat can be a bit tricky to kill. It's important if you throw your crosses at the very beginning to get a 6-bar critical hit. Now comes stage 5. This stage, there isn't much to worry about except for the harpies, like that one right there. The harpies spawn randomly. There's no way to manipulate them like you can in CV1. But other than that though, it is a very short stage. Just grind for some hearts. There's no orb to collect. And so I'm like on the lookout right now. Oh, there's one right there. Gotta be careful. Some more damage boost. And another one here. One more. I think that's about it. Alright, now approaching stage 6. This time we're actually going to be entering the castle. Watch out for this troll bat here. Yeah, he can definitely mess you up. Some useless money bags here. Alright, now we're going to be approaching Dracula's castle right about now. Oops, paused way too early. You have to press the pause button to skip the cutscenes. I did that way too early. Alright, so welcome to stage 6, where Dracula throws all his wild parties at. These accents can be a bit of a pain. Alright, this part here requires a little bit more focus. Oh, I don't think, yeah, I didn't get the timer right. So what I try to do there is I try to basically jump in these chandelier platforms as quick as I can. However, I practice this part way too many times to know when I'm not safe or not. But it's better to be safe than, well, fall down, because if you fall down you have to start all the way from the very beginning and you lose about a minute and 20 seconds as opposed to losing 8 seconds like I just did there. So I'd rather lose 8 seconds than a full minute. And you lose your cross and your triple. So it's better safe than sorry. So go forward, throw your crosses, kill the ectoplasms, kill that guy there. Now comes 2 more ghosts. And another damage boost. Gonna go ahead and get rid of this Axe Knight here. Alright, good. Oops. I should probably also point out, this is the first game in the entire series to implement landing on stairs. The problem is that it wasn't really programmed correctly, so if Simon's foot lands in a certain pixel in the stairs, he will actually fall down. It's something we call stair boss, but it's common and it happens. Luckily they fixed it in later CB games. So right here I'm going to throw my crosses to get rid of these skeletons. That was a pretty clean hellway there. Now comes the second skeleton hellway. Alright, that one's okay. Alright, now I'm gonna try my best to do the coffin boost. Oops. Messed it up there. What I try to do is basically make an opening window for myself, walk forward and get hit by the coffins, but I didn't hit my whip at the exact time. But that's fine though. So in this part here, these ghosts will appear randomly. They're purely RNG. And it can be very scary if you're low on health. Luckily I'm not. Alright, we should be good. Alright, now comes the boss of stage 6. And they're dead. I think you can pretty much see why the cross is like the best sub-weapon in the entire game. So up next is going to be stage 7, the library stage, which is personally my favorite one. Alright, good. That Spirit Knight over there, his movement is completely RNG. He moved all the way to the left, which is exactly what I wanted, in order to not lose any more additional health. So yeah, stage 7, It's my favorite stage. Just find it very relaxing and love the music and the atmosphere. However, one thing I don't like about it is this thing called the book jump, which I'm going to try my best to do it right about now. Oh, that was super close. That is the scariest jump in the entire game. You have about 7 frames to execute it, but the scariest thing is having to land on the very side of it, of the book, in order to guarantee a safe landing. For a moment I kinda doubted myself there, that I was gonna fall down, but we're good. Yeah, that's the biggest obstacle in the entire level. This monster you see right here only appears in that part of the stage, or the entire game. Watch out for this rug monster here, just duck. And some more intentional damage boost. And now we're on to the last screen of stage 7. There you go. Now comes Sir Grekiel, who is, I believe, Dracula's head knight. Just use your crosses and your whip, and just keep hitting him. And now comes what is undoubtedly the most infamous stage in the entire game, Stage 8. The dungeon level. What makes the stage a lot more infamous, the one that's about to show up here, is that enemies are now a lot more tougher to kill, and it has a lot of spikes, which can kill you in one hit. So I'm gonna be a little bit more careful here. Also, I am playing the Japanese version of CB4, meaning that you get to see a lot of blood here in this stage. The United States version, they censored it by covering it up with green sludge. There you go. This is the worst screen in the entire game. Alright, we're good. Yeah, again, don't be a hero, just tread forward safely. Again, these spikes are very, very brutal. They can kill you. Or sorry, they will kill you in just one hit. Some safety meat there for more intentional damage boost, starting with this one. There you go. Alright, on to the last screen. This is when things get real here. So receive some damage over there to skip those spikes. Kill these enemies here, just keep going forward. Take even more intentional damage boost. Ugh. That last one can be very scary. I wanted to move forward, but if I was a few frames off, I would have basically landed on the spikes and died. Now comes the infamous Vegas Bridge. Ooh, for a moment I fell. Now comes Frankenstein's monster. Just stand forward and just throw your crosses. He's really easy to kill. And now we're on our way to stage 9, the treasury stage. Yeah, hi Frank, bye Frank. So welcome to stage 9, where you can see just how rich and basically how rich Dracula really is. I find it really cool that these skeletons are made of gold, only in this stage. A nice little touch by the developers. There you go. So be careful from these platforms here, they will disappear the moment you step on them, but they also make the game lag a lot more. So jump here, throw your crosses, kill that guy, kill that other guy, and just keep marching forward here. Throw your crosses at whatever time you're comfortable with, and then kill these skeletons here. There you go. That part's been giving me some issues lately, jumping over that bone dragon without getting hit, but we managed to get past them. Now comes the third to last screen. So I'm going to receive some more intentional damage boosts here to basically go through that bone dragon over there. So the interesting thing about this part of the screen is that these candles here do not drop hearts. And that skeleton can also be random. These candles here drop nothing but money bags, and all they really do is just give you more points for extra lives. And now we're on to the final screen, approaching the boss. So the thing about Zapbat here is that his movement is completely random, and you're going to want to whip him exactly 22 times. Ugh, this is not good. I'm gonna wait for him to fall down here. Ooh, really close fights, but he's dead. So that fight could have gone a little bit better, but it's better than being dead, I suppose. Alright, up next is the second to last stage, Stage A, the Clock Tower level. And what better song to play than good old Bloody Tears from Castlevania II. It's a good song. So yeah, Stage A is a very, very tricky stage. This has, in my opinion, the hardest platforming. Like these gears here have a very weird landing box. And a lot of these skeletons can be very random in terms of their movement. And remember the Medusa head boost in the first stage? Well, there you go. So I'm going to swing myself over here and onto the second to last screen. Now comes one of the toughest tricks, the fast climb. And we're good. For some reason that part's been giving me issues lately, but I spent maybe 20 minutes of practice and, well, I guess it isn't that bad. Alright, that's the second fast climb right there. And now we're on our way to the very last screen. So now comes the mummy boss. For this boss can be very random. I'm gonna want to spawn all the way to the left, and he gave me a really terrible spawn. So yeah, this mummy can spawn in basically 3 different places. The spawn on the very left, the middle spot, and the one on the right. I wanted to spawn all the way to the left so I can kill him in one cycle, but as far as we know, there's really not much you can do to manipulate its spawn. And now we're on our way to the final stage. Yeah, Raw No Blood is a very good game. I love it a lot. But this game always holds a special place. So you're probably familiar with the song here, Good Old Vampire Killer from CV1. So for this part here, since this is the last stage, I'm going to be grinding for as many hearts as I can. I'm also going to be killing these bats to reduce lag. In order to basically go a little bit more quicker. Another intentional damage boost. Now comes the stair climb here. Again, this is the remix song of Castlevania III Dracula's Curse from the first stage. Ooh. Yeah, that stair over there can be very tricky. Like I said earlier, this game you can fall through stairs, even if you didn't intend to do so. So one of the stairs I just landed on earlier can really mess you up a lot. But luckily we don't have to worry about it anymore. Ooh, little tricky ring glitch there. If I moved just a little inch to the right, I would have died. Alright, gonna get some meat over here. And now we're gonna fight the hardest boss in the entire game, Slagra. He's just the worst ever. Alright, here it goes. I'm gonna need to focus a little bit more here. Alright, that's such an amazing fight. So, if you played Symphony of the Night, you'd know how easy Slagra is, but in this game, he's a complete nightmare. His movements are completely different, and his hitbox is ridiculously huge. But luckily, we killed him. Gaibon over here, he's super easy to kill. Yeah, he's still easy. And now we're about to approach the second to last boss, Death, or Grim Reaper, however you want to call him. So gather up as many hearts as you can. So I'm gonna burn a cross over here in order to time my other crosses. So throw these other 3 here. Ooh. Yeah, I kinda messed up there with the death fight, but luckily he decided to swoop down, so I can basically kill him easier, or quickly. Now comes the very final boss, Dracula. Dracula isn't that bad in this game, but his spawns are completely random. So it's all up to having some really good RNG. You're gonna want roughly around 21 hearts, but I have more than enough. So over here I count down 7 seconds from the in-game timer to time my cross throws. That's a terrible spawn. Another terrible spawn. Alright, that was a pretty good first phase. Now comes the final phase. And unlike the previous games, he does not turn into the Cookie Monster. Instead, he's bald and a little bit more angrier. But he's dead, so it doesn't matter. And now, time's gonna be coming up very shortly once the orb appears. Yeah, there he is. Oops. And there you go. That's Super Castlevania IV. Hope all of you enjoyed it. Made a lot of mistakes here and there, but for a deathless run, that's pretty good. I'm always happy with a sub 35. Thanks for the GGs, everybody. Appreciate it a lot. And thank you again, RGL TV, for allowing me to be here and showcase what's probably one of my favorite games ever made. Yeah, credits never get old. So, thank you everybody for being here and again letting me, play one of my favorite games ever made. Stick around for some more Castlevania action. We have a Father Cthulhu who's going to be running Castlevania Symphony at Night, which is without a doubt the most treasured game in the entire series. So, with that, thank you very much.